On a Reaction Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, day one of the NFL Draft is in the books. We get our tackle, we get our wide receiver. I am merely Bo. He's a great Z.
This thing's hard to see now. It's so like, what? I don't understand.
Well, you got pushed.
Under here. Back it up.
What happened? What happened to the button?
There we go. Now I can see it.
Now you can
Let there
see
be
it,
light.
buddy. Let there be
Hello,
a little light.
and welcome to day 2 of the 2026 NFL Draft.
I can't hear you.
Okay, it'd be nice, you know, how to work
in
a
the new
microphone.
studio, you'll have a button too.
How are we supposed to respond to you? We can't hear you. I know you're
That's
talking.
not an attribute.
I know you're talking.
If the audience can hear you, but we can't.
That would be like me being like this.
Hear you, Gibbs.
But the audience can hear me. Unbelievable.
We're going to invent
What
a
a
new way to
start.
do radio. Gibby talks into a mic to Kev and the audience, and then Kev talks to us.
The number of things that have been done to this studio to make it even possible to do what we're doing currently,
There's a lot going on.
it's a lot.
There's a lot going on.
Are we just doing a radio show?
I don't know. There's
That we do every day? I don't
a lot
know. It
going
feels
on.
like right now what we're doing is what we do every day. but
Hey,
I
here's
don't
what's
know.
pretty cool. We're going to get a live press conference here.
Yep.
Spencer Fano, the number 1 pick, number 9 overall, first pick of your Cleveland Browns, the soon-to-be left tackle of your Cleveland Browns, right tackle at Utah. He will be at the podium. And Casey Conpsion, wide receiver out of Texas A&M with the 24th pick. He will be at the podium momentarily. We will have those comments live when they go there.
Here's just real quick because I know we're going to be going there. I think we all wanted a wide receiver and a tackle in the first round.
Yeah.
Check. You got that. Mm-hmm. Not only did they get that, and not only in the place where they traded back, they still got exactly the person that they wanted.
Yeah.
You picked up pick 74, which is a valuable pick in the third round, and a fifth-round pick that's going to allow you to maybe move around a little bit today if you want to. So people can say, oh, I thought I like this tackle, I like that receiver. Look, the bottom line is Carnell Tate was off the board, and thank you, Tennessee Titans. I thank you for doing that because I think it's a little bit of a different vibe if that trade back happens and he's on the board. But he wasn't. So
Yep.
too bad, so sad. And I am sad because I kept chanting. I was walking around the house yesterday chanting, Tate is our fate. Tate is our fate. But wasn't. He was Cam Ward's fate.
No, Cam Ward.
Just like we wanted Cam Ward last year, and now all these people are down there in Tennessee because they got that beautiful baby blue new stadium. Jeff Jarrett's texting me. He's all excited about it. But at the end of the day, you got the number 1 offensive lineman on your board. By the way, I got flack from someone. How could you know he's the number 1 offensive lineman on the board? You don't know that. He was the first offensive lineman taken. Like, how's that a real criticism?
Even if you actually didn't know, there it is.
They were asked in the press conference.
There it is.
By a journalist. So was he your favorite
J?
offensive lineman?
Big J
What
journalist.
do you mean?
No, the guys we didn't take, we like them more.
What are we doing? So at the end of the day, they got the guy that they wanted there. The Browns had 4, to my knowledge, 4 receivers that they liked in the first round. They got one of those 4 in Casey Conpsion. And obviously they felt, once the top 2 were gone, they didn't need to move up. They felt the way the board was going to fall that Lemon or Conpsion would be there, and turned out that they were correct, and they get Casey Conpsion, who reminds a lot of people of Zay Flowers, who's had a lot of success there with Todd Monken. So we'll see how this all plays out, but we got a guy with a lot of speed, a lot of ability, and there's been actually a ton of praise for him from like the tape-watching people online,
Yeah.
Steve Smith as well, praising Casey Conpsion and that draft pick by the Browns. But we'll have to see. It takes years to figure out how it's going to go, and now let's go hear from these guys down at the podium.
You're down.
How we doing?
How you guys doing?
Doing freaking awesome.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you, man. Thank you.
We got Spencer and Casey. You guys got any questions for them?
Either one of you guys, just how excited are you to be here in Cleveland? I know Casey yesterday you mentioned that Browns fans should be getting the popcorn right now. You guys just up here, your guys' feelings just getting here.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just, a blessing, honestly. It's just, a dream come true, honestly. And when, and when I heard my name called, it was just, excitement.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, I feel like, just gotta be honest. One of my first thoughts was I don't get to
I don't have to play Myles Garrett on Sundays. So that's something to be excited about in itself. But I mean, just to be here, be with these teammates, to be able to play for these fans, it's an honor.
To follow up on that, I mean, left tackles have come through here before and talk about going up against Miles and that challenge that it is. How much are you looking forward to getting that opportunity in training camp practices even?
I'm so excited. I mean, I feel like there's no better way for me to get better than going against someone like that. I mean, just maybe the best player in the world. So to go against him every day is going to be a blessing.
You guys, you talk about versatility, positional versatility. How much more important is that becoming in football, that you're not just a left tackle or a right tackle or an outside receiver? How much more important do you feel like it's becoming in the game?
Yeah, it's much more important now. The more things you can do, the better your value is. The faster you learn, the more plays you get. Being able to play, all across the field, it's just gonna, open up, many more opportunities.
Yeah, and you never know what's going to happen on the football field. Like, someone could go down. I think it's a good thing to be able to fill in wherever I need to. Yeah, it's a big thing. And then not only that, is that knowing how to play multiple different positions just broadens, or I don't know, it broadens your knowledge on the game itself, on how every play works. So I feel like there's nothing but positives that come with knowing multiple positions.
You were probably playing when games and Shador Sanders was playing in college.
Yes, sir.
But have you had a chance to watch him play, and what will it be like to catch?
Yes, sir. So I actually got kind of like story. So whenever I had entered the transfer portal, after my sophomore season, I had actually went down to Colorado and and met Shador. He's a great guy, a great leader. I just cannot wait to build that relationship, build that and build that connection with them.
What was it like for you to hear Andrew Berry say to you on the phone yesterday during your draft call that they expect you to be their left tackle, their franchise left tackle of the future?
I mean, sure, I'm ready. Or I feel like it's such a cool thing to be believed in, and I'm not one that likes to let people down. So.
Spencer, Andrew told us not to be fooled by your personality. Right? I think he said don't be fooled by your kindness. Is there a switch that just flips with you when you step on the field?
I guess you could say that. There's just something about. There's something about just. I don't know. That's a little corny. So let me think of something else. All right. But it's like the same saying. There's no greater joy of being a man from point A to point B against his will. And there's really nothing like it. When you're just pushing a guy back, he's like swinging at your arms. There's no feeling like that. And then to be able to put someone in the dirt, it's awesome.
Joe Thomas a little bit yesterday. First of all, has he reached out to you yet since you've been drafted?
No. But
what drew you to him when you were growing up watching left tackles, and what stood out about his game where you just called him the best of all time?
Well, I mean, I feel like a big thing about him is this that I saw. I feel like it's a really big character thing too, is the fact that he played 10 years and didn't miss a snap. I feel like that was like the biggest thing at first, where it was like, I think that's insane, because there's no way that he got through 10 seasons healthy, and the fact that he never missed a snap, I think that just as when I was younger too, showed me like his character, and how well he played those 10 seasons too, or his whole career. To me, it's kind of undeniable that he's the greatest of all time.
Reading that letter you wrote to GM and you called yourself, you said you're the best receiver in the draft class. I guess what makes you say that? What gives you that confidence to say that?
Like I said before, I'm very confident. I feel like, I feel like, I am the, I feel like I am the most versatile. I feel like I feel like I am the I am the best, playmaker, about a group, but everybody, is amazing, everybody, everybody has it, everybody has their, everybody has things, that everybody has their things that that everybody does well. So
Just to address the fact that Andrew Berry, when he talked to us, he told us that after he read your letter, that he actually picked up the phone and called you to tell you just how much that moved him. What did it mean to you to hear from him in those words when you weren't even sure if you were going to be here or not? And how did you feel about that?
It meant a lot. Just having him, read the letter, him, and him, reaching out, and showing love and support.
This obviously you're taking in the experience of being drafted by a team. You'll do that, but how eager are you for the next step of getting to work on these practice fields and taking part of rookie minicamp and really getting to fit into this organization?
Yeah, I'm excited because I know there's going to be a learning curve. I mean, I'm going against dudes that are bigger, faster, stronger than guys I've ever gone against. So I'm excited to be able to take that challenge head on and just get better.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just ready to work. Also, I'm ready to compete. I'm ready to compete. I love competing. So honestly, I'm just eager. Excited. I'm ready to get to work.
There was a report that you had like a knee scope in March. Just how you feeling, physically, and you think you'll be like ready to go for minicamp?
Yeah, I had a knee scope March 12th. I think about 5 weeks out. I feel great. I'm back running. Routes. I'm back lifting. So by the time the rookie minicamp comes, I'm ready to go.
A lot about football stuff, but talk about some of the people that you have that you brought here and kind of the influence they played in you getting to this point.
Yeah, I just brought my fiance, my beautiful fiance Sammy. I would have my parents here, but my brother's in the draft as well, so they're at home with him. But just, so I'll speak as if my parents were here as well. Both my parents just sacrificed everything all growing up for me to get to where I'm at today. There was no sacrifice too great for them. And then she's just been the greatest support of my life. Sure, there was some dog days, some days that I was real sick during the season, and she was the one nursing me. So, I've just had a lot of incredible support.
Yeah, so above there, I got my dad, my mom, my beautiful girlfriend. My dad, he's the one that, he put the football in my hand. Since, 4 years old, he's just been, that, person who, who motivates me, who pushes me, to my limits. My mom, the sacrifices, she had to make. I got 4 little brothers in the house, so it was just hers. So seeing her, sacrifice a lot. It meant a lot. And my girlfriend, she has been nothing but supportive. She's just been the greatest supporter, a shoulder to lean on, and an outlet to talk to.
Can you talk about the fact that I've been watching some of your film and your tape, and your route running is obviously one of your strengths, and you're joining Jerry Jeudy here, who is also a great route runner and prides himself on that. Have you watched some of Jerry? Have you watched Jerry film at all?
Of course.
Yeah. About him as a route runner and how you guys might be together in that way.
Yeah, of course, growing up, Alabama, it was a powerhouse. Just seeing those guys, be there, and dominate. So, once I'm finally able to get to, meet him, and pick his brain, I feel like me and his game are going to complement each other very, very well.
There's been a lot said with some of the new offensive linemen that have come in this offseason about George Warhop and kind of what he brings to the table as a coach. Just how much were you able to, if at all, interface with him during the pre-draft process, and how excited are you to work under him?
I was able to meet him at the combine and on my 30 visit, and it's been awesome. It's been really awesome to get to know him, meet him. Just talking with him, I already know. I already tell what kind of coach he is. He's definitely an old school type of coach, a very hardcore type of coach, and that's all I've had. So I think, yeah, that'll be awesome.
It's a lifelong dream for both of you guys. I'm just curious, when you were a kid, what part of it did you dream about? Was it playing? Was it hearing your name called? What was it?
Ooh. I would say, just playing, honestly. It really didn't matter, if I got my name called or not, just being able to, just being able to play the game, just being able to play the game that I have loved, since a kid, honestly.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I feel like every part of it has been my dream. Hearing my name called, even being here, I feel like is a dream to me. And then getting out to play on Sundays. I'm really grateful because I feel like just every day I'm out here, I'm in this league, is going to be like I'm living my dream, because I am.
And this question would be for both of you as well, and that is, it's not every year that you have 2 first-round picks. So, have you guys kind of had a chance to sort of talk to each other a little bit about how you can be a huge part of the evolution or the transformation of this offense, and kind of Andrew Berry was saying that you're culture setters and things like that. So do you feel like you can be part of something big here to get this thing turned around?
Sure, yeah. Let's do it, man.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Let's do it. And I'll be able to really we really just met, so just coming in, together, and just and leaning on each other, help each other out, and just establishing, that brotherhood, honestly.
When you were a kid growing up playing, did you pretend you were some receiver, whoever it might be?
Now, so actually, I grew up playing a quarterback. Honestly, I didn't start playing receiver until my 9th grade year in high school. But growing up, I used to watch a lot of Tavon Austin. Yeah, back then, his were legendary.
What do you make of the big deal that was made about your arm length and the whole pre-draft process? And at any time were you worried that was going to move you down the board or keep you from playing tackle?
Pro day was different. Here, when I came on with 30 visit, it was 33. Was it the Steelers? It was 33. I don't know what it's like to have 35-inch arms, and it hasn't made too much of a difference. So.
I think that's an overrated aspect in the NFL draft combine process.
I feel like I'm sure it has something to do with it. I don't think people would make such a big deal out of it if it wasn't a thing. I don't think anyone has the athleticism and the feet that I have. So I think in my case, I don't think it makes a big difference.
Yesterday, Andrew mentioned that they thought you were the best returner in the class. Just how have you embraced that part of the game and look forward to making waves?
Oh yeah, always. It's just just it's just it is just another way I can impact the game. It changed the game. It just honestly adds on to my value.
How about the fact that you are joining an offensive line that's in the middle of a complete massive overhaul, and that pretty much everybody at every single position is going to be new and different? How might that benefit you, to just kind of be on the ground floor of a startup line?
I feel like, I don't know, it's going to be exciting. I mean, it's going to be, it'll be really fun to have all of us come in at the same time so we can all kind of build relationships at the same time. I don't know, it's cool not going into a room where everyone's already, set in stone, to be able to go in a room where we can all build relationships at the same time. And I'm excited to be everybody's shadow, to kind of learn how to be great in this league.
What about the draft process, talking to the Browns, meeting with the Browns, and then being drafted by the Browns? Has you excited about the city, about the organization? What gets you excited to be here?
I mean, honestly, the relationships, everybody, inside the building, from what I can see, it's close. It feels like a family environment. So just being able to be in that type of environment.
Yeah, and then my two favorite things so far have been, first, definitely the relationships. Meeting Coach Munkin was so cool. He's a great man, great coach. Meeting with Coach Hop, I'm so excited to play for him. And my second favorite thing has actually just been the traffic here. It's been unbelievable. I was here at 5 p.m. during my my 30, and then there was nothing. There was nothing. There was just straight green lights. So I was like, that was unbelievable.
Was there a moment for either one of you guys during your visit that you thought, wow, this could be my landing spot?
I would say probably I would say my walkthrough after we had our walkthrough, we shot like hoops. It was just bonding more, getting to know each other more, and I feel like after that it was I felt like after that it was a strong possibility that if I was there at 24, I could become a Cleveland Brown for sure.
Yeah, and I drove here straight from the combine. They drove me here. I feel like that alone, I thought it was pretty cool, and I could see myself being here.
The arm length stuff, the one nitpick on you has been the drops. How do you ease those concerns when someone brings them up to you?
I just accept it. I have had drops, but it's more so it is more so concentration. Just focusing on the ball. So I've been working nonstop at it every day. So it's gonna get fixed for sure.
Last one. About stepping into a quarterback competition. So both of you guys are going to be, part of that. You probably haven't had a whole lot of time to think about that yet. But what do you kind of know so far? A little bit maybe about Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, and how maybe exciting is it to see this whole thing play out?
Well, just as a lineman, it's I'm excited to play to play in front of either of them. it's so funny hearing Deshaun Watson. It's kind of like a celebrity name to me. And then I was able to play against Shadur in college too. We went 1-on-1. He beat us the year before he left. But to me, it doesn't really matter to me. My job is to block for whoever's back there.
Yeah, I would say both of those guys are legendary. Honestly to me it doesn't matter. It's my job to get open. Catch the ball. So whoever is back there, I'll just I'll just be happy for those guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
You're up.
There you go. Your 2 first-round picks available at the podium. Spencer Fano, tackle out of Utah. Casey Conpsion, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. Going to be 2 massive building blocks offensively as we go on here. All right, and we're going to have both those guys in the studio here momentarily. You and I have not talked about the night that was last night. You were actually, obviously, live on the air, and I was watching all of it. I will say just big picture draft, the 8 minutes was crazy between picks for television. So if you want it to be a television show, you got to go back to at least 10 so that they have time to take breaks because you were behind and you had to make the decision. Are we going to be on X or eventually I just put my phone away because I'm like, otherwise this isn't going to be any fun because they're 3 picks behind by the time we got into the teens. We were 3 picks behind. And then you had, I think yesterday we had that thing like how many trades and we had it at 5.5.
I went over, baby.
To the moon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, it's pouring rain outside.
Of course it is.
How about it?
Of course it is.
Got my car washed
Mr.
today.
Siciliano's here.
The great
Lovely.
Siciliano. Oh, Victoria. There she is. A little piece.
Victoria. There you go. Everything you need.
Yeah.
What?
We're just saying hello. Just a hello.
Just a hello. Just a hello. That's it. Yeah. What was it like for you guys in here as we were maneuvering in the first third of the first round?
So it was interesting to see how the draft was going to fall because what I think is one of the interesting scenarios that almost came to fruition didn't. Like, what if Arvell Reese was there at 6? What does that look like? Are you now trained back to 12?
Right.
Does Dallas want to come up and get him? Or are you saying, heck, Arvell Reese just fell in our laps. We take him and we don't take a tackle.
Yeah.
Or is it, we wanted our guy, we get our guy Spencer Fano. So that's an interesting one. But it was, watching it unfold, it was pretty standard fare for the most part. I think, we, like I said, had a good idea that a trade back was coming and that this draft was going to start with the tackle for the Cleveland Browns, and that's exactly what happened. And that big man is making his way to our studio right now.
Looks great. Yeah. So we're going to take a quick That's pretty good.
That is
He's
good.
Currently posing for those
It's kind of like
folks
when,
in the building.
When Senior Swag walks by. It's very similar.
Very similar panache.
Similar panache, similar reaction, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Big reaction to it. Spencer Fano going to join us in studio here. Celebrate the excitement of the NFL Draft at the Crib, presented by Howard Hanna. Join Cleveland Browns alumni Josh Cribbs, John Hughes, and Chomps today, 3 to 5, 312 Woodridge Lane in Moreland Hills. That is Agent Adam Kaufman as they educate you on the market and help you draft your dream home. More details at howardhanna.com/go Browns. Spencer Fano in studio with us. Coming up next, you'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back in. Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. And presented by Howard Hanna, official real estate partner of your Cleveland Browns. With the 9th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Spencer Fano, tackle, Utah. In studio, it's got a nice ring to it, buddy.
Yes, sir.
What
sounds pretty awesome?
You just had your press conference down there, and you walked in, and we've got all of our folks in the office here, and they were pretty excited to see you. You have an infectious personality and attitude. You did a little posing for them, which was very exciting. They were jacked up about. What has this been like, man?
It's been a dream come true. I mean, every part of this, these last 24 hours has been like a part of my dream. So to be able to do this, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing.
So we got to see a little clip of the call, and we know the story now that from the Combine, you drove here from Indy, and it's people who make that drive off. That drive stinks. It's one of the worst drives on 70. It's terrible. You didn't mind it. You were all excited. What? You have that, and he says, this time we're going to get you a plane. A little bit different transportation this time to Cleveland. What was that whole experience like for you?
I couldn't even tell you about the drive because it was the same story where I just closed my eyes and I was here.
So you're good at sleeping anyway.
I am.
That's a great skill.
I'm pretty good at sleeping. So it was the same thing. The private jet was really impressive though, because I can't believe I promise you I closed my eyes when we were in the air and I opened my eyes and we were on the ground and I thought we were still in Utah. Like it was so strange.
There's no better way to fly than that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
When you came over, you were the first one that we had, right? And you went straight from Combine to here. What was it about the conversations and the familiarity you had with AB and around our guys? Did you have an inkling that perhaps you'd be a Cleveland Brown?
I feel like I did. I don't know, just all the conversations that I had and the relationships I've been starting to make. I feel like all of it just has felt really genuine and it's felt right.
When you were going through this process, having the last 2 years, you played right tackle. You played left tackle, obviously, your first year, freshman All-American. You've been All-American the last 2 years. You did that, accommodate a teammate and do what's best for your team. There, by the way, 2 first-round tackles on the Utah Utes.
This is my dog, bro. Just seeing him go to the Patriots, I was screaming at the TV.
I love it. Did you give him a little, has he been a little razzing about his dancing?
Oh, I saw that video too. Oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
You came in and more just had like a giant, powerful pose, which was good. But
I do need a razzle because I don't know. God forbid there's a bad game, but that clip will be everywhere.
It's an incentive to play well.
If there's a good game too, actually. No, never mind. That clip's just going to be regardless.
It'll be there, man.
That's my guy.
For you, being able to come in and you hear the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Todd Monken, say that's our left tackle. And that is the position. You just texted him. Joe Thomas occupies for the Cleveland Browns, right? That's the spot on the offensive line. When you hear your coach have that kind of confidence, we drafted you. They could have picked any lineman in this draft. They said, we want Spencer Fano on our team to be our left tackle. What does that mean to you, and how excited are you to get back over there and on the blind side?
I am so excited. I mean, in college, I really. I've never cared where I played.
Yeah.
I'm sure if they wanted to stick me in the center, I would do it. Mm-hmm. If they wanted to put me a receiver, I would do it. Yeah. But I don't know, somebody believed in that much to play a position that pivotal. It means a lot to me. And I'm not one that likes to let people down.
So you were talking, our good friend Chris Rose, who works for NFL Network, he does the preseason TV for the Browns, was at the Combine, and you were doing some of the center drills, and I guess he stopped you in the hall and said, "What, are you going to catch punts next?" And you told him, you're like, "I'll do whatever they ask me to do."
Because they were just like, "Hey, any non-centers want to get snaps in?" And I was like, "You know what? The first O-line position I played, because I was a running back growing up."
Really?
And then I was finally too heavy in 8th grade. And then my dad was my coach, and he put me in at center. It was the only year I played center, but so they're like, anyone that thinks they can snap, go ahead. So I was like, okay, I'll do it.
That's an unbelievable story. I can imagine 7th graders trying to tackle you.
Yeah, I would say.
Do you remember how many touchdowns you scored in 7th grade?
I did have a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah.
I did have a lot of touchdowns.
I think you might have had more touchdowns than people who legitimately tackled you in the field of play.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was like, and the whole time, it's not like I was some finesse running back. And I was running into people.
Yeah.
I was just running into people.
When you are a tackle, and I don't know this or not, we're just getting to know each other here, but being a student of the game, and we were talking about Joe, and one thing that Joe is so willing to do, and he's done it before with our offensive lineman who we've drafted, is he is available as much as you want. And you could make an argument that he's the greatest left tackle in the history of the game. He's certainly in the all-time game in the history of the sport. That type of resource, what does that mean to you? What do you know about his career? What do you know about kind of the legacy of that position here?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been glazing Joe Thomas. I mean, like, I personally believe that he is the greatest lineman of all time. I mean, I know about, like, just like growing up and seeing the stat how he played and didn't miss a snap for 10 years.
Yeah.
No, I feel like, I don't know, just you as a lineman and you know how, like, gritty it is and you know how, I don't know how easy it is to get hurt for certain things. And the fact that you played 10 years in the National Football League and you don't miss a snap, I feel like that not only don't miss a snap, but you play as well as he did. I think it doesn't only speak to how good of a player he was, but his freaking character.
He wanted to be there for his team.
That's insane. That's insane. So, yeah.
10,363. Is that? I think I have that right. Consecutive snaps.
So if I was able to learn from him, I would love to become his shadow.
Well, one of the things that's cool is that, he wasn't one of those, you have some mountain tackles where they're just giant, strong. He was a master technician, and he was so athletic. I mean, you'll watch him do one-legged kick steps, and he can go down the field faster than I can run at my old age these days. You're an athletic guy, so athletic. That jumps off of the tape, and that's one of the things that has allowed you to always be in position. So I think it's kind of a natural synergy there.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I would love to just learn from him and, like I said before, just be his shadow.
Can I ask you this? In the combine and going through this process, right, is this the only time in your life that somebody was like, there's a part of you that might be too small? I mean, where do we get, 32 inches and 7/8, not quite 33. Like,
it was crazy.
You've been the biggest guy probably around for your whole life.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, that actually is pretty hilarious. But then, it's like suddenly I'm tiny compared to other guys. Like, I still feel like I'm a pretty big dude.
You are a big dude. Yes, you are. I can verify that. Yes, you are a big dude. It's just one of those strange things that we talk about all the time. I remember when Jared Goff came out and they said, his hands are too small. Nobody's mentioned his hands since he's gotten in the NFL. That's one of those things that's talked about for a very finite window, and then you go play and you carry on with it.
Yeah.
What do you when you are the first player for any team's draft? There's a responsibility to it. There's a responsibility to yourself, your family, the organization, the city, the fans. It's a lot. It can be a lot. How has your life prepared you for this moment now?
That was a fire question. Oh my gosh.
You're going to do just fine, buddy.
He's a big B broadcaster, folks.
He's going to do just fine. You're going to love him.
Yeah. I feel like I've been. I feel like I have been. What's the word? Crafted for this kind of moment or for this kind of responsibility.
Team captain in college.
Yes, sir. And I feel like I've been given that kind of leadership role all growing up. And I know that this first year I'm ready to just be a rookie and to just follow in the guys that have been here, their footsteps. But I don't know, like I know what I want to do. I know my goals. To me, this is like when I got to Utah for my freshman year in college. How I was able to start as a true freshman. And I just know I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that both Andrew Berry said and Todd Monken said to you, but then also said in here to me last night on the radio broadcast is that they think you are a culture setter. And one of the things that Joe Thomas and even Joel Batoni, we've had some great offensive linemen here. They say at times it can be hard for an offensive lineman to be a culture setter. So the way that Joe went about it was taking every rep seriously, playing 10,363 snaps in a row. Kind of what's your approach to leadership from a position that doesn't touch the ball, right? So it's a little different that way.
I think it's all about energy. It's about energy, and then not only that, with the O-line, everybody knows that nothing starts without the O-line. And so
set the tone.
Yes, and we set the tone, and when we're moving, when we're moving dudes off the ball, I feel like that just sets the energy for everybody. I mean, at any level I played at, if we sucked, the team, like the offense sucked. But if we were killing it, it gave the opportunity for everybody else to do the same. So I feel like that's where my role will come in as being a culture setter, which is just doing my job and bringing energy.
Yeah, Quinshon Judkins here, Dylan Sampson, some darn good productive running backs as well. Do you like run blocking more than pass blocking?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you like just getting physical, getting violent.
Yeah, but I mean, shoot, everything's part of the job, so I enjoy all of it. Yeah.
I know you got to run. I just tell you this, buddy, and I would tell the audience this: your personality is infectious. You're a culture tornado.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
you could feel it when you got into the building today. You felt it in the press conference. You feel it in here right now. This fan base is going to eat you up, buddy, and you're going to feed off each other in a really positive way.
Yes,
Welcome
sir.
to Cleveland, pal.
Let's go. Thank you so
Let's
much.
go.
Thank you.
Come on, man. First round pick, Spencer Fano in studio with us. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back in. So from one first rounder to the next first rounder.
It's nice to have two of them.
It's very nice to have two of them.
Sir, man.
With the 24th pick last night, we took Texas A&M wide receiver Casey Conpsion in studio with us. One thing that I think that's been really cool since the pick last night, Casey, is how your highlights are starting to really make their way around. And you're a highlight factory, buddy. You get the ball in your hands, and it's going to the paint. When you think about this fit and how the last 12 or so hours have worked out for you, where is your head right now in terms of where it's at?
Man, I'm just, excited really. A lot of nerves, but I'm just ready to get to work, honestly.
And that's got to be for you the fun of this, right? Is to play football. That's what you love to do, and you're coming into a team where the new head coach is an offensive guy, and he knows his receivers. He's had productive receivers throughout his entire career, and now he wanted you here, and now you're here. What's kind of the conversation's been like with Coach Monken? And he said to us last night, I know you played some in the slot, you played some outside. He's like, they see you as a number one outside guy.
Yes, sir. I mean, the talks, has just been, move me around. Outside, inside, punt return, everything. Honestly, I want to, do, as much as I can. It just brings more value, to the team.
You watch as I did last night, and certainly aware of you at Texas A&M. You guys had a hell of a year,
yes, sir.
And so you're well aware when you're gonna play Texas A&M, you got to deal with you. And a lot of people didn't have a very good job of dealing with you. It didn't go well for them, but. When I was telling my boys this last night when we were watching the draft, what you're getting with KC is a weapon.
Yep.
He's a weapon. Like slot, outside, motion, jets, punt return, all of that.
Yes, sir.
When you put all of that together, that's really what you're getting with you is you're getting that ultimate weapon. When you think about when you've had the most success, I mean, gosh, as a true freshman, NC State, you got 10 touchdowns. Like you came right out of the gate ready to go. What offenses, and Todd has made no bones about this. He's very malleable in his offense. He wants to get playmakers in space. That's part of it. What are you most comfortable doing on the football field?
Everything, honestly.
Yeah.
I run the routes, jet sweeps, handoff, screens, whatever they need me to do, I'm willing to do it.
2025 Paul Hornung Award winner is the most versatile player in college football.
Yes, sir.
First team All SEC as a returner and as a wide receiver. More importantly, consensus All American. So all the accolades are there. You penned a letter that talks about your journey, your life story, the adversities and things that you've had to deal with in your life. But what I loved about it is you ended with the most important part. I am the best receiver in this draft. You will not regret calling my name. I'm thrilled you're a Cleveland Brown. I think everybody who's listening is thrilled that you're a Cleveland Brown. How excited are you to take that story that you put in that letter, which was very, very powerful for a variety of reasons, and then to turn that now into a spotlight? It's one thing to be a star in college, right? The spotlight you're afforded now and the stage that you're afforded and the ability to impact people and impact this city and this team and people all around the world is huge now. What does that mean to you and the fact that you are so comfortable and passionate about sharing your story and being a beacon of light for people who have a variety of struggles in their lives?
It's very important. Like I said before, I just want to be, I just want to be that, outlet, that, role model, that, person, who gives people who might not have as much confidence, confidence.
Awesome.
I just wanted to share my story because to inspire people who may be going through the same things who may be going through adversities to to push through.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we go through a football season, there's a ton of adversity, right? You know this in college. You may have a big play, you may miss a play, right?
Yes, sir.
You're not going to be fazed by those things. So I think that's part of the mental toughness, right? And the self-awareness, the self-confidence. These are things that Todd Monken talked about in addition to obviously the great skills you have, but everybody's talented to get to this level, right, at some point, but it's the people who have the fortitude to maximize those talents and the wherewithal, and it certainly seems like you have that, and it's exciting, and I think what you're doing is very powerful, and I have a lot of respect for it.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, and I think our head coach likes you a lot.
There's no doubt our head coach likes you.
He likes you a lot.
Yes.
And you may have been his favorite player of the whole draft. Who knows? But he had a guy who had some of the similar attributes as you and Zay Flowers. And last year in Baltimore, when he was the offensive coordinator, 86 catches, 1,200 yards, 5 touchdowns.
First Pro Bowl receiver in their history of that franchise.
Right. And what he did with Zay was, I think, what he probably envisions doing with you. Not putting that on you as a rookie, although I'm not thinking you're going to shy away from any of it. But just
I can do it for sure.
I know that you can, buddy. But what was that like, connecting those dots in terms of, that's how I can do those things?
Yeah. Just seeing what Zay Flower did. The different ways they were able to get him the ball. The short game screens, intermediate routes, deep routes, I can do those same things, if not more. Honestly, I'm just honestly ready and excited to finally play inside of his offense. So.
And I know the knee is good. You'll be ready for rookie mini camp, so that's fantastic. Have you got a chance to talk with any of the quarterbacks here? You got some guys, Deshaun Watson, who for a while was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's working his way back from injury as well. Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, guys who've been very successful in college and obviously getting their start here with the Cleveland Browns. Have you got a chance to talk with any of the quarterbacks yet?
Yes, sir. So actually, while I was here on my 30 visit, I talked with Shedeur a little bit. We talked, and then after the draft, I texted Shedeur. I told him, I'm ready to work.
Yep, I love it.
Yes,
I
sir.
absolutely love it. Let's go.
It's awesome, man.
It is exciting.
I would tell you this: you played in one of the great atmospheres in all of college football your last year at Texas A&M.
Crazy atmosphere.
Crazy, and I mean this as a compliment to our fans. That's what it's like here.
Okay.
The first time you go to a game day on a Sunday at 1 o'clock, you will feel the buzz of this city through your car.
Yeah.
You will feel it. This is what we do. We live and breathe and eat football up here, and a football Sunday is sacred. And if you enjoyed playing at Kyle Field in front of those fans, you are going to love playing in front of these, and they're going to love you.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be pretty special, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the Browns.
Can't wait, man.
Let's go. Let's go.
Casey Conpsion in studio, man. It's going to be fun. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Presented by Howard Hanna, official real estate partner of your Cleveland Browns. Add more fun to your fan with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today. Get 50 back in bonus bets. You place your first wager of 10 or more. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. To the hotline we go. The draft guru himself, Dane Brugler, author of The Beast from The Athletic, joining us. Buddy, day one in the books. I want to get into your thoughts on the Browns picks, obviously, and best available and all those things for today. Just big picture, last night, what surprised you the most in the way that it all shook out?
Well, I think I was expecting a little more chaos at the top with the top 10, maybe a few more trades. And we did see a few, obviously the Browns being part of one of those. But, for the most part, I think it played out kind of how we expected in terms of the players. We thought, the range they would go. Ty Simpson coming off the board at 13 was the first whoa type of moment where there was always a possibility that could happen. It wasn't like completely out of left field, but still questions about, okay, did they have to do that at 13? Could they have tried to move back? Could they have tried to, wait to do that later on? Because who else are you competing with for Ty Simpson? And then, of course, just the entire, fit concerns with this is a win now team. And, is that the direction they should have gone? So the Ty Simpson part of it. And then probably Caleb Banks, talking to a team last week, going over some players and asked this particular team, what was the range for Caleb Banks? He told me 15 to 100. Like that was the wide open range for Caleb Banks, the defensive tackle from Florida, who 6'6", 335 pounds, but coming off a foot injury, multiple foot injuries that really clouded things. And so Vikings obviously choosing the glass half full approach of he's just too talented and we'll take the risk that he'll stay healthy for us.
All right, Dane, let's get into it from a Browns perspective, and always great talking with you. I'm sure this is got to be a crazy time of year for you, all the work that goes into Beast, which now all of us get to sound smart when we talk about players, so thank you for that. We always appreciate the ability. And by the way, may I just say, the new interface on The Athletic is incredible, the online interface. The sortability, the ease to get to a player
really good.
Is really, really good. And by the way, we're saving a lot of trees.
We are.
Because before I'd have printouts everywhere. I'd have stacked my position. I'm running through this, that. It's incredible. But Browns trade back from 6 to 9, pick up pick 74, which I think will loom large tonight. They also get a 5th rounder. They may allow them to have some movement and versatility. And they end up with, at a position of great need, the number 1 tackle on your board, the number 1 tackle on their board, clearly, in Spencer Fano. What kind of a player are we getting in Spencer Fano, who is the left tackle, according to Todd Monken?
I mean, a guy that's 6'5.5", 310 pounds, a big-time athlete. And going back to the combine, leaving the combine, because the offensive line, they're the last day. They work out last. A lot of the buzz from on the outside was about Monroe Freeling because of the 40-yard dash and the way he moved. But talking to teams, the buzz was not about Monroe Freeling. It was about Spencer Fano because of how good he was in the position drills. Whether it was working out as a tackle or as a center and some of the different things they asked him to do, all the buzz talking to teams was about Fano and just how fluid he was, the movement ability, the foot quickness. And you see that on tape. And that's why he was my tackle. It's why he was the top tackle for a lot of different teams. I think you see the range that he brings, especially in the run game. When Utah needed a yard, they were running behind number 55. And a lot of those skip power pulls that they did, short pulls, long pulls, you could just do so many things with Spencer Fano. And even though, he was a left tackle as a freshman, then the last 2 years at right tackle, I think that you felt good about the position flexibility with him, where if you wanted to move him inside to guard, you could do that. Maybe long-term at center is a possibility. He gives you the option of getting your best 5 out there. And so I do think that this is the Browns are going to play him at left tackle. It sure sounds that way.
Yep.
But there is some position flex if they need to maybe mix and match a little bit.
Dane, last time left tackle, he was a freshman at Utah. And knowing you watched over all of it. How smoothly was that transition from left to right rather?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because you go back to high school and, and this is all in the Beast. He was a right tackle. And so it was interesting that he was a big-time recruit, coming out of Utah and stays home, goes to the Utes. and starts right away. Literally started the season opener in 2023 as a true freshman. And as a left tackle, he more than held his own. And then Caleb Lomu, who was in the same draft class or same recruiting class, but redshirted that first year, he's now in the starting lineup, and his more natural position was left tackle. And so that is really the main reason why the Fano moved over to the right side. It was almost like Tristan Wirfs at Iowa. He could have easily played left tackle at Iowa, but it's because the other tackle, he had to be a left tackle. And so Wirfs had the versatility where, okay, you need me at right tackle, fine, that's good with me. And then, of course, he's a left tackle in the league now. But with Fano, he was year starter, 36 starts. Somebody put together a just highlight reel of blocks, both in pass pro and in the run game. And he was the Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year. He won the Outland Trophy, a unanimous All-American. So the resume looks great. The tape is great. And then, I mentioned the combine and how good he looked during drills, but also the testing was fantastic. The 4.91 and the 40, the 3-cone at 7.34 is just unbelievable. So one of the main questions was, okay, he's got under 33-inch arms. He was 32 1/8 at the combine, at the pro day, 32 7/8, which is what you like to see, closer to 33, but still under that mark. And you just look at him, he doesn't necessarily have that prototypical build and frame, just in terms of how broad his shoulders are, and that's not saying he can't do it. It's just it didn't look like Joe Alt or some of these other left tackles we've seen go in the top 10. But at the same time, you watch the tape, and I think that those concerns quickly go away because of the way he moves and the way that he can execute.
Yeah, it's one of the things, even talking to Joe Thomas about it, he said, look, if you're in the right position, you lengthen the corner. And he's a guy who didn't get beat around the corner, and longer arms may be more important with guys who don't move as well as he did. I mean, you watch his tape, and you guys, it's so cool, again, to pump the your draft Bible, The Beast, at the NewYorkTimes.com or, of course, theathletic.com. They have film breakdowns in it on the guy's player page, and you watch something. And one of the things he does, and I know he's not exactly the same type of prospect, obviously, as Penei Sewell, but you show him running a tackle trap at Utah. How many colleges are having tackles run tackle trap like the Lions do with Penei Sewell?
Exactly. And Utah was very much a run-first team. I mean, I think they were like 50-40, run the pass. That was their bread and butter. One of the concerns was how many true big-time pass rushers did he go up against in the Big 12? And, they're against Tech and David Bailey. Bailey got him a few times, but I think Fano more than held his own in that game, in that matchup. And then just every time he was asked to execute, whether it was in the run game with a skip pull or a trap or any of those different techniques he was asked to run, it just looks natural for him. And he's a very gregarious guy, like personality-wise. And I think that's something that you find out quickly.
Yeah, we just talked to him.
He is a I'm sure that came. He can't hide it. It's not. He doesn't try to hide it. It's genuine. It's who he is, and it's something that shows on the field as well because of. And I don't think he's ever going to be a true people mover or someone that just simply overpowers anybody in his way. But he does play with grit, and he wants to move a guy against his will. And so I think just that mentality really fits for what he's asked to do.
So Andrew Berry got the tackle that he wanted, the number one offensive lineman on his board, number one tackle on yours as well, and Spencer Fano. And then at 24, it's Casey Concepcion. The run of tackles, by the way, it's pretty lucky they took the tackle when they did, because then they all went off the board from that point on.
Yep.
Dane, in terms of KC, how do you see the transition for him from Texas A&M to the Cleveland Browns?
Well, and that's exactly why in my final mock draft yesterday I had Spencer Fano at 6 and then Concepcion at 24 for the Browns, because if you...
Are you good at this or something, Dane? You've been good at the Browns? You've been picking the Browns players?
But just also the theory of, okay, let's get our tackle first because it's more likely that those tackles are going to go, right? And so that's exactly what happened with Monroe Freeland going where he did, Blake Miller, Max Ahinachor to Pittsburgh, and so it's something where you kind of had to, I'm sure that this team would love to have couldn't have gotten Carnell Tate because he even went before that.
Yes.
But I'm sure getting a receiver could have been, part of something they talked long and hard about during the draft process about how realistic of an option is that for us at 6. But I think it became pretty clear, let's get our offensive lineman first, and we feel good about whether that's Omar Cooper Jr. or Casey Concepcion or the receivers that are more realistically going to be available. And it turned out to be KC. And so just one of the most dynamic players in this draft. Somebody that the pre-draft process was a little bit up and down because of the knee scope and, he never did full testing. So we don't have a 40-yard dash. But he played in the SEC, and you can see him go up against these top-tier corners, and he has no trouble going up against them and gaining a step and maintaining that step downfield. He's just a very decisive player, and the confidence that he plays with allows him to really maximize that athleticism. So some of the drops are there. That's part of his game that, you want to see him take that next step. But in terms of getting one of the most dynamic offensive weapons in this draft, that's exactly what the Browns did, and someone that's going to help from day one.
Yeah, it certainly will help punt return. As Andrew Berry said, even if he didn't return punts, he would have been our pick. But that's a very nice icing on the cake. Took 2 to the house last year. First player in Texas A&M history to score a receiving, rushing, and return touchdown in the same season. And you talked about it. You put on his LSU tape. He does pretty well against a guy who actually was drafted in the pick that the Browns traded out of, number 6, Mansour Delane. He's a separator, and I think you can go to all the advanced stats that say against man coverage he was either the best, depending on which source you get, or the second best creating separation there. Little Zay Flowers, that's what Todd Monken kind of said to us. There's certainly some Zay Flowers in his game. Monken obviously got the best out of Zay Flowers there in Baltimore. How do you see him? Todd said he's going to be an outside guy. I think they can move him around, but I think he sees him as a true number 1 on the outside.
Yeah, my comp was a mixture of Zay Flowers and Luther Burden. If you combine those 2 skill sets, I think you have Casey Concepcion, and I think you're right. And part of the reason why he is a very good separator, it's not just the athleticism, but there is a craftiness to the way he plays. Like you see it in just the body lean and some of the pacing that he uses. And his ability it doesn't have to gear down fully at the top of a stem. I mean, he can just glide in and out of those breaks, and it just makes it really tough for defenders to close that gap quickly. And he's a very quarterback-friendly target in that regard because he will give you windows. And it's on him now to cut down on some of those drops and make sure he catches the ball in stride, because if he has a step, he can take it the distance anytime he touches the ball. So, yeah, I mean, this is just the second time an A&M receiver has gone top 40 in a draft. Mike Evans was the first.
Evans.
Now Casey Concepcion. Yep, exactly. And so I'm glad you mentioned the punt return, because that's a big part of what he can do. And even going back to NC State, his first 2 years, they knew pretty quickly, like his freshman year, this is the best player on the field. And so we're going to manufacture touches. And he would line up in the backfield. They would line him up all over the formation in an attempt to just whatever we have to do to get him the football and just let him create with the ball in his hands. And so that continued when he got to Texas A&M, and he really developed as a receiver, somebody that, can run the full route tree, can line up inside or outside. So this is someone that's going to help the Browns in a lot of different ways on offense.
It sounded a little bit Percy Harvin-ish. Line him up and just get the ball in his hands. A weapon. He wins the Paul Hornung Award last year. All right, so the Browns get their tackle. They get their receiver. Now, they might not be done certainly on the offense line, might not be done in the receiver room. They also pick up a third, pick number 74, which we'll talk about now tonight, because this sets the Browns up now to have 5 of the top 74 picks in this draft, which is a great ratio there. And then they got 39, 70, and 74 today. Plus, they have 3 5s to maybe use to try to move around. How do you see the needs now? They've addressed their top 2 needs. What do you want to see the Browns do here in night 2?
Yeah, having 3 picks here, 3 more picks in the top 75, that's a real opportunity. And I think it'll be interesting. I expect some trades at the top of round 2. Just talking to people around the league this morning and working the phones, it sounds like there's a lot of different trades being talked about at the top, and so it'll be interesting. I think corners, edge rushers, and defensive tackles. watch those three positions. That's where I think we're going to see the most action in the early second round. But does Emmanuel McNeil-Warren from Toledo, does he make it to 39? A safety who I think we thought could have gone in the first round. And you look at the first round with Caleb Downs, a top 5 player in this draft, he falls to 11. You look at Dylan Thieneman, a top 20 player in this draft, he falls to 25. It's the safety position. That's the reason they didn't go quite as high. It's the same thing with McNeil-Warren. Nobody would have batted an eye if he went last night as a top 32 pick. And so could he still be there at 39? I think safety's in the mix. I mean, a couple places in the secondary they could go. Several corners are still available with D'Angelo Pons, both Tennessee corners. Obviously, Jermon McCoy's situation's a little bit unique because of the knee. But at a certain point, it becomes worth it. I'm just not sure it'll be for this team. And then I think edge rusher, the chance to add depth at the edge rusher spot is something I think they want to come away from day 2 with ideally somebody they can, someone that's going to help them at that spot, whether that's TJ Parker from Clemson or Cassius Howell, Texas A&M, Gabe Akis from Illinois would make sense. So I think there's a few different ways they could go, but edge and secondary are the 2 spots I have my eye on here as we go into round 2.
One of the guys. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, looking at your best available, just so because sometimes we're in the woods, we know these things. But Jermon McCoy, who's your 14 overall player, and you mentioned some of the stuff that's going on there, why he's dropped. Just for our audience, what is the status of him? And because obviously, when you see he's 14 overall, you're going, "Good Lord, let's go." But you said probably not here. But just so our audience understands.
Yeah, and that's where, obviously we're on the outside looking in and we don't have the medical reports. And so we kind of find this information out late. But obviously we know he didn't play in 2025, right? He had the ACL injury in January of 2025, missed the entire past season. The 2024 tape was awesome. It looked like a top 10 pick. But then going through the process, there were concerns about, okay, is there more? And it's the concerns with the knee go further beyond the ACL. It's the worries that he might need another surgery, and we're talking about a long rehab process to get back on the field. And so just the uncertainty there is where I think teams are having these talks this morning. Okay, where's enough? Where, okay, if he falls to this point, let's go get him and let's figure it out. And remember, I mean, it's not apples to apples, but Will Johnson last year, the corner from Michigan, he fell to the 48th pick, and he had an okay rookie year for Arizona Cardinals, and I think they're looking at him as a big part of their secondary moving forward. So we'll see with Jermon McCoy where he ends up going tonight. But he's my top available player, and then right after him, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, Denzel Boston from Washington. I don't think they double up on receiver this early, but I do think a receiver later on is possible. Avion Terrell, the Clemson corner, who I think is a first-round player. It's just he didn't run very well at the pro day, but there was some injury stuff involved, and so that's part of it. But he's just there's a honey badger aura to the way he plays, and so I'd love for Avion Terrell to be on my team.
Some definite options there. I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned just 2 things. One, on receiver, you say you don't think that maybe they'll go that early for receiver, but I think when you look at this receiver room right now for the Cleveland Browns, you still have a need, I think, for a big-bodied guy. And Chris Bell, Malachi Fields, Ted Hurst, those are guys that you kind of have projected to go today. Would those be good fits in your opinion for the Cleveland Browns? And of that group, who do you like?
I think of those, Malachi Fields is the one that would interest me the most. I think with Fields, you're 6'4.5", 218 pounds, not that burner as just a pure speed guy, but in terms of catch radius and the ability to go up, climb the ladder, and come down with the football, that's absolutely somebody that you could add to this mix and bring a different type of a perimeter presence. He's going to block his butt off. I think there's a lot to like there. Chris Bell is obviously coming off the ACL, so he's not going to help you from day one. And, I think you have to be comfortable that you might not have him at full health until, the second half of the season. That's just, or maybe even longer, who knows. But if you're looking long term, he is so explosive for a guy that's 6'2", 222 pounds. Somebody that can take a simple slant and take it the distance because of that acceleration that he plays with. It's very A.J. Brown-esque with the way he plays. It's just he's got that discount sticker on his tag because of that ACL injury. So yeah, there's a couple. I mean, I really like Dejon Stribling from Ole Miss. He's 6'2", 210, but he's a 4.3 athlete. Ted Hurst is he's still pretty green. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for him to develop as a route runner. And so if you're willing to be a little more patient with a guy like that, then maybe he makes sense in round 3. But there's going to be several wide receiver options here that could potentially make sense for the Browns if they want to go size. And I mean, who knows? If they love Denzel Boston enough and he's still there at 39, maybe that is a direction they could go. It just depends on the grade you have on the player and what other guys are available at that pick.
Dane, you're the best, buddy. Enjoy night 2. Thanks, pal.
You too, guys. Take care.
All right, there he goes. Dane Brugger, The Athletic, author of The Beast. You're right, and I'm glad you mentioned that. It's so clean right now.
It's
the way
so
The Beast is set up on The
easy
Athletic.
and quick.
Very, very good. All right, coming up next, former Browns defensive lineman John Hune's going to join the program. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. And presented by Howard Hanna, official real estate partner of your Cleveland Browns. All right, to the hotline we go. Former Browns defensive lineman John Hughes joining the program. He's at the crib. You're Moreland Hills, John. Is that where you are, pal?
Yeah. What's going on, guys? Yeah, I'm over here now.
All right, man. How's it? What's the vibe
beautiful
out there?
East Side.
That's right.
Vibe's great.
Vibe's great over there.
Yeah. No, it's going great over here, man. Showing the house, man. Getting to meet some awesome people, man. It's been a good time.
What was your reaction to how last night went for your Cleveland Browns?
So honestly, I thought it was a great 2 pickups. I even liked the trade. I think a lot of times with fans, you know, they look at these different picks and they have this perception of what they're thinking is going to be the pick, right? But I'm fully invested in Andrew Berry and his picking, right? So I saw what he did last year in the draft, and I'm confident with the picks that he had last night.
You're a guy who played in the trenches for the Browns, and you see, obviously, this offseason that was the focus for this Browns team on offense to kind of rebuild those trenches. What is, from a defensive lineman's perspective, what does a good offensive line do for an offense?
Oh, it opens up the door for a lot of different things, right? So having a good offensive line, you can let your quarterback do his thing back there, and it opens up his passing if you're able to have a good line that you can run with, right? It opens up the pass. We always used to say, you got to earn the right on defense. You have to earn the right to rush the passer, right? So you got to stop the run. So if you got a good offensive line that can run the ball down people's throats, that's half the battle.
And John is out. Here's the address for you, folks. You'll be there 3 to 5, 312 Woodridge Lane in Moreland Hills. Adam Kaufman, the agent out there, they're going to educate you on the market, help you draft your dream home. You can find more details at howardhanna.com/go Browns. We talked to Josh yesterday, John. I think he was on the west side yesterday, and one of the things that he talked about is how fun this is because as folks are coming into these open houses, you're talking draft. And the thing that you know
exactly.
certainly as being a Cleveland Brown is there's no way to get away from that around here.
Almost definitely. No, it's been really cool talking about the draft, right? Getting to hear everybody's different, kind of perceptions on how they thought it went, and the good and the bad, and really just hearing how excited people are to see what happens tonight.
John, as you kind of sit there, as you said, you get to be amongst the people. You're there on behalf of Howard Hanna for the Cribs. It turned into a really good event. We saw a picture there. Is this like a brand new home? Is this like a new construction situation?
Yeah. This is a brand new home, a brand new development. There's other houses going up around here. It's a beautiful 3-bedroom. It's really nice.
Love it. So you can go out there. You can rub elbows with greatness. John Hughes, talk a little Cleveland Browns draft, and go check out the crib. So it sounds like a wonderful afternoon for Browns fans where they settle in 7 o'clock tonight for rounds 2 and 3, Bo.
John, what are you thinking tonight? What's your ideal dream scenario tonight? The Browns with 3 picks, a 2/3 and a 2. What are you kind of hoping for tonight?
Tonight, man, honestly, just filling more needs, right? I think they did a good job addressing needs in the first round. I think we just kind of continue on the same path. I could see between receiver and even, looking more into that DB room as well.
All right, man. Enjoy it out there. You'll be there till 5 o'clock. Cribs is out there. Chomp's out there, too. The address is 312 Woodridge Lane in Moreland Hills. Adam Kaufman, the agent out there. They're going to educate you on the market, help you draft your dream home. John, thanks for your time, bud.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
All right, there you go. And celebrate the excitement of the NFL Draft at the Crib, presented by Howard Hanna. Join Cleveland Browns alumni Josh Cribbs, Reggie Langhorne, and Chomps. That's Saturday, tomorrow, 3 to 5. Samuel James Lane in Avon. Agent Megan Kopp on hand there to educate you on the market and help you draft your dream home. More details on howardhanna.com/go Browns. After all of this, we haven't even talked about the draft. We will do that
Not at
coming
all.
up next. You're listening to
Let's
Cleveland
do it.
Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Be sure to tune in tonight starting at 7 o'clock. The University Hospital's Cleveland Browns Radio Network, the Browns Draft Show, presented by Gregory Industries. Z, Ken, Gerard, and Mr. Siciliano, who is sitting here right to my right. Take you through night 2 of the NFL Draft. Appearances by Andrew Berry, Todd Monken, interviews with all of our picks tonight as well. That was fun last night, man. There's a lot going on.
Boy, was it. I mean, where do we start? The Steelers being completely embarrassed in their hometown, which was a absolute treat to see.
I don't know how aware you were, but so I've always been a Kuiper guy just out of habit. And last night, right when they went to it, they didn't have the mix minus matching on the mics, and so you couldn't hear what they were saying. You just heard Nat sound. Like you heard Renegade blaring right when they started it. And
Terrible song.
And so they had that, but you couldn't hear Greenberg talking. So I'm like, you know what? Rich Eisen's my guy now.
Yeah.
Let's flip it over. Let's watch NFL Network, and DJ's incredible. So I stuck with NFL Network the rest of the time, and they crushed it. But on the Steelers pick, they were on that. In my mind's eye, they were on it as it was happening. Like Rappaport was reporting it as it was happening, or within a couple of moments from when it happened, and I just thought, my God, I don't.
It would have been incredible if they showed that footage then, because we didn't.
It was crazy.
We didn't see it until Good Morning Football this morning, right? Is that right? Is that the first time anybody saw the footage?
They had it. Rappaport was reporting on it within a pick of when Pittsburgh picked.
Yeah,
like almost immediately. So if you, and I don't know what ESPN did, and I don't know what ABC did, but
we
on
knew
NFL
nothing
Network,
about it.
Okay, on NFL Network, Rappaport reported it either as Pittsburgh was picking or just slightly thereafter, within a couple of minutes after. And I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. We're basically like, and by the way, the Cowboys did him a solid.
To the Eagles, which is, I would have just said, yeah, no, sorry. But
crazy.
They allow the Eagles to come get a receiver that they wanted for 2/4. I mean, really not a whole lot, and they sent a 7th back. But Mekhi Lemon is on the phone with the general manager of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Omar Khan, thinking he's going to be a Steeler, and he says, hey, why is Philly calling me?
Yeah.
And then his agent walks over and is like, the Eagles, you're an Eagle. The Eagles just traded up and drafted you. And he's like, what? And he's like, goodbye, Omar Khan. They showed the video on Good Morning Football Day.
Crazy.
Incredible. Siciliano.
Hi, I don't want to interrupt.
No, you're not interrupting.
No, but I am.
You have a
Good to see you,
microphone.
good to see you.
I thought you were in this segment.
How do you...
Look, you got an ISO cam. You're not interrupting anything.
Hi, guys.
He's ready.
Good to see you both. How do you call the player without seeing that the team in front of you has officially put in their selection? Because it's not a TV show. It's like a fantasy draft. These guys in the war room, the GMs, whomever's on the computer, it's like a fantasy draft. They're plugging in the names.
Yeah.
So until you see that pick, how do you pick up the phone? And I know Khan has said, well, we knew they were going
He said they talked to the Cowboys and they said they were going defense.
Yeah.
But until that pick, until you're on the clock, how do you call the girl and go like, hey?
I'm with you. That's crazy. And I also think it's crazy Dallas traded in the division.
Yes.
That's nuts.
That's also part of the story.
Yeah.
Like,
for
so
a
now we're
weapon.
for a weapon. Now they got to deal with him.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That was incredible. The picking of Ty Simpson, and whether it is they are in Hollywood and they made an incredible Friday remake for their draft party Thursday. Whether this is Sean McVay playing a character or not, which maybe the truth is maybe somewhere in the middle, because I think there's got to be a part of him that wants, hey, we have Matt Stafford back, let's go win a Super Bowl. Why don't we use the 13th pick to get somebody that helps us do that? Yeah. And then there's, we're getting a quarterback for the future and being smart about it. Which is funny because many people who say like the best case scenario for that guy is that he's Jared Goff, who was not good enough for Sean McVay, and hence why Matt Stafford is there. But
Jared also went to a Super Bowl.
He did.
Jared Goff
we're the
is
biggest
a darn
Goff
good
He came
quarterback.
within this close.
Yeah, we're
Jared
big
Goff
Goff
is
guys.
an excellent quarterback.
Yeah, we
no,
think
we're
he
a big
gets-
Goff.
yeah.
fan. I
On the
I
record.
wanted him. Yeah, he's 16 from the Bay, Cal, Berkeley. Come on.
How about the fact that?
But whatever's going
Cal
on there,
and Stanford
something's
had-
going on there.
I'm sorry, Coach.
Do you agree? No, you know
Yes.
more. Yes.
Cal and Stanford had the top 2 picks in the draft last night.
Cal and Stanford. How about it?
Fernando Mendoza.
Yep.
And David Bailey was at Stanford before he went to Texas Tech. He played 3-4 good years there and then went to Texas Tech. Cal and Stanford are the top 2.
Now defunct Pac-10.
It'll be back. It's back this summer. Big Ten had the most players picked. First time it was a non-SEC since 2013 or 15. I think 15. First time that was the case. Only one non-group of 4 player picked, San Diego State. was the only one. Everybody else.
Chris
Now,
Johnson.
a great many of them started in non-group of 4, but this is what's happening in college football. You have a couple of good years, and then you go to a big boy school for the last year.
Yep.
So there was a ton of that out there. I got to tell you, we talked about this briefly. The 8 minutes, if you're making a television show, 8 minutes doesn't work.
No.
It just doesn't work. They were behind sometimes 2 and 3 picks in terms of the information as it was coming through. You couldn't really have analysis on picks at all. You couldn't have analysis and the player interview. It's almost like they have to decide which one of these things do we want to do if we're going to keep it at 8 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. And I had it muted. I was doing a show for Yahoo, so I had multiple screens up, but we were trying to keep up. And
were you trying to keep live with what was going on social, or try to keep live with the TV
so
broadcast?
We're not going to the podium. It's an alt cast, right? So we don't have to get everything. Oh, shut up. Go to the podium. So you're trying to have these obviously well-rounded conversations, but it was going really, really, really fast. There was never a moment where you can go, all right, Bo, at 17, what do you think the Lions should do?
Mm-mm. Yeah.
You couldn't do that because by the time you went around the horn and you talked about the pick that just happened, all the other picks were coming
Were
in.
you guys responding in real time, though? Because
yes.
Not TV time.
To the TV or to the social?
Well, so we didn't want to jump the broadcast too bad, but at the same time, there's enough latency with any broadcast feed that you're watching where if I could see the pick already on Twitter, then and I could see them take the wide shot on stage. I know that in real time in Pittsburgh, Roger Goodell's already made the pick.
Got it. Yeah,
and
yeah.
as an alt cast here,
Right.
we don't think, watching an alt cast to truly see the picks as they come in. You're a second screen, so you have a little more leeway.
What did you guys do?
We waited. We were on TV, so sometimes we're sitting here and it's.
Now, did you keep this up?
I was keeping abreast of things that were going on.
Because Jordan Schultz had things sometimes 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah. But we weren't.
By the time you get into the 20s.
I wasn't then being like, oh, well, maybe they actually, anything like that. It was just more I was kind of looking to see, especially when we got after the Fano pick. And I'm thinking, now I'm receiver obsessed, so I'm now receiver hungry. And I'm trying to be like, okay, if he gets past this team, then maybe we got a shot for the receivers to make it all the way down.
Yeah.
And so I was more looking at that and just being like, okay, good. It wasn't a receiver. Real quick, though, back to you on the Rams thing. What do you make of that?
A couple of things. Number one,
Great exhale.
So I think both can be true. The Rams badly want to win a Super Bowl this year. I mean, and every team does, but it's in their building. Last time it was in their building in 2021, they won the Super Bowl. They have this thing circled. They want to win this thing. They're all in. They got very close last year. Obviously, made it to the NFC Championship game, and down the stretch
that
of
was
the
the
fourth
Super
quarter,
Bowl in
right?
many ways.
And they didn't win it. Sean McVay, I believe wanted a toy, wanted something that can help him this year. But the Rams firmly, organizationally believe that whether they win the Super Bowl or not, they're going to be deep into the playoffs this year. They're in the conversation. And if this is it for Matthew, and he's 38 right now, and they're going to pay him this year, that they are going to likely be looking for a quarterback next year. Doesn't mean Matthew's only going to play one more. But next year, look, you have to start that process. Now, the guy didn't even practice in the preseason last year. Couldn't practice.
Right.
So you have to be pragmatic. And they think that if they do have the season they believe they're going to have this year, they will not be in any position to get that quarterback next year. They're going to be picking 27, 28, 29, 30, and all those QBs are going to go high, and nobody is going to trade out.
Yeah.
So they went, we really like Ty Simpson. We're just going to take him. Is there a disconnect? I wouldn't call it a disconnect. I think Sean...
Simpson said on Sirius that he didn't even...
He had not spoken to him.
To McVay.
They did not want, especially the Cardinals. Remember the connective tissue? Mike LaFleur had been in the building the last couple of years. They're all BFFs in that family. They did not want the Cardinals to know that they were on to Ty Simpson. There's the other thing, too, here with Garoppolo. A lot of people thought Garoppolo was going to go to Arizona. He would just follow him. Now, Jimmy's like, maybe I retire. Maybe if they didn't draft Ty Simpson, then Jimmy goes back to the Rams. There's like a lot of moving parts here. Yes, Les wanted Ty Simpson, clearly. I don't buy that Sean totally in no way wanted him. I do think he was mildly disappointed he couldn't go draft a toy to play in the sandbox with last night. I think his tone will change, and I think he truly does like Ty Simpson. Both can be true.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whenever you say, okay, well, great, our first round pick at 13 is going to come in and compete with Stetson Bennett.
But they got Trent McDuffie. They got a first round pick.
Talent wise.
Yeah,
They could have had two.
They lost the NFC Championship game because they didn't have corners. So they spent one of their first round picks on a corner.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. We spent so much time talking about all the Buckeyes and thinking that they would potentially be in play for us. Nobody had Carnell Tate going the first of them.
Boy, am I glad
he
he
went
did.
4 overall. That was a little bit of a surprise. And then, like, if you're thinking about perfect landing spots for those guys, I don't know how you do better than where Arvell ended up, where Sonny ended up, and where Caleb Downs ended up in Dallas. I mean, he's just born to be a Cowboy. The idea you play for Alabama football, Ohio State football,
so
and the
good.
Dallas Cowboys, like,
There he is.
get him a number 2 jersey and sell 1 billion of them. That's an easy one.
Good for him.
One other thing that I was blown away at on the broadcast, and probably not for you, maybe you were more versed of this. I was not. So they take a picture of the Eagles' war room after they draft Mekhi Lemon. And Jeffrey Lurie's there, and Howie Roseman's there, and Nick Sirianni's there, and Big Dom is there.
Oh, yeah. Off to the left.
He is right in the war room. And I went, what is that dude doing in there?
Dude, Big Dom's
he was off to the
everywhere.
left?
Off to the left.
He's right behind Sirianni.
By the
He's
door.
So
front-
he was in the swag seat. Swag made it last
He is
night.
more prominent than Swag.
Do you see
He's
Swag
right.
last night?
Of course. What am I, hard to see in Swag? I can
No,
spot him anywhere.
anywhere.
No, he is front and center.
anywhere.
He's front and center. And so then I found out, so if you go on the Eagles site, he's a special assistant to the general manager.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is.
Like,
he
I had no
is
idea he is elevated.
Everywhere.
Where?
What's that guy doing there? One other thing from the broadcast, and I knew that this had happened before, but they lost their way a little bit last night. So they are taking pictures of fans, right? Fan reactions. So they take we're on the clock. It's at 9, drafting Spencer. They take a picture of our fans, and they show them going nuts. And I said to my wife and kids, I said, those are not Browns fans. And my wife's like, how do you know that? And I said, well, it's a 15-year-old kid in an old Browns version Baker Mayfield orange jersey. And I'm like, no 15-year-old has that jersey and would wear it to the draft. Second of all, the woman who appears to be his mother is in a John Dorsey crew neck hoodie. And I'm like, those are 10 years old.
So you think they were plants?
Oh, hold please. So I'm like, those, and they're like, you're out of here. It's crazy. So end of the draft, okay? Titans come back on the clock. Same 2 people are now Titans fans.
Shut up. Like seat fillers at the Oscars?
That's right. That's right.
That's incredible.
Wow.
And there was another situation.
Well, no Browns fan would drive to Pittsburgh for the
Put
draft.
on a 10-year-old Baker Mayfield or 8-year-old Baker Mayfield old. That's an 18 jersey. It just didn't even track.
This thing is hand-me-downs.
But you wouldn't wear that one.
I agree.
That was one that was on its way to the Sudan and then ended up in a seat filler situation. So then
Sudan.
So then you got well, that's what they do with them, as you know.
Yeah.
And then the other one thing that happened there, they take another fan shot, and it's a woman in a Bills jersey next to a guy in a Patriots jersey who's next to, they look like family, next to somebody in a Vikings jersey, and they're on camera, and she like grabs him to shake him like we're on.
All right,
and then he's like going nuts.
I'm trying to find text because I had a text from a group
You should
of
make it
people who
like
are
Kiss
talking
Cam
about
to
fans.
see if they're
That's what
actually
I'm like, these
together.
people are all paid.
Yeah.
They're all paid.
Yeah, that's funny. Somebody sent me a text and was like, look at these people. And I'm trying to see from that text chain if that was.
He looks
the
to be
people you
like
were
a
talking
15 to 16-year-old kid.
Did they also think that Renegade is overrated?
I will say this.
It sent Carmen into a real tizzy.
I will say
when
this.
I said that?
No, that they
fans.
played it. He's like, if we host a draft in Cleveland next time when the Browns make a pick, he said, I want an entire Michael Stanley album to play before we make a pick.
You're playing to the hits.
Yeah.
And
of course they're going to play Renegade.
Of course they're going to do that.
Of course
It's
they're
a
gonna
good
play
hit.
Renegade.
Yeah.
It got Omar Khan so riled he called the wrong player.
Yep.
That's the funniest thing of the whole thing.
That's unbelievable.
That happened.
Wow.
Was it the Vikings?
Express is
It's been a long
Vikings
time.
let the clock
Who
go.
let the clock go out?
2 minutes.
There's
2
been
That was the
was
Kellen
2000
Winslow. That was the K2 year.
Well,
Wasn't
didn't
it?
it
20
also
years
happen
ago.
in?
Yeah. Is it like
Didn't it
20
also happen in 2014 with Anthony Barr?
It might have.
They let the expire and they went back one. I think in my mind, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm confusing
You're
two
probably
situations.
right.
But something weird happened in 2014.
That Steelers snafu was in the vicinity of that.
I think
good.
it was 14.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
14, they did it too. So it happened twice to them?
It's not great.
So it happened in 03. Definitely.
Not 14.
Well, it might have
might
happened in
have.
14
Okay.
as well, but it definitely happened in 03.
All right, day 2 tonight. You guys will both be a part of it. We're picking at 39
Yeah.
as it stands now. Wish list?
So there's a guy that I really like that I wanted to ask Dane about, but we didn't. Stooks from Arizona. Now he's probably
safety.
older than our profile, but he's like a perfect safety nickel. hybrid type guy, 4.3 speed, can cover all of it. And
Some people thought he could have been taken last night.
Okay, so maybe then he could be in play. He's somebody that I really like. I think we need a slot corner, and if you get a guy who's a slot corner and a safety, that just fits exactly what we need, I think, well. And then give me a tall receiver today.
May I suggest along those lines, Emmanuel McNeil Warren from Toledo?
Yeah, of course, would be great.
It would be. It's a DB factory these days, obviously. Tip of the cap to Jason Candle. And I think if you put on his turnover tape, a couple of nights ago, I went into PFF, and I'm like, just give me his forced fumbles. He doesn't have a lot of picks, but he forces fumbles. And it's not just like a peanut punch all the time. He comes in with the shoulder, the elbow. He gets the ball out.
Yeah.
He attacks the football violently, and it's a beauty. He's tall, too.
All right, we got to run. It's going to be a fun one tonight.
Keep
Keep
started.
it. Well, I know we got a lot going on here today, kids. Thanks for listening. We'll have a full recap of it all on Monday, and of course, lots to listen to tonight. Thanks for listening. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.